Welcome to Unstoppable, where dreams turn into plans and plans turn into powerful action. Hosted by Paula Swain, financial planner, business owner, grandma, and queen of reinvention. This show is for women ready to stop surviving and start thriving. We'll laugh, we'll learn, and we'll tackle the messy, beautiful, in-between parts of life that no one really talks about, but we all live through. This is Unstoppable.
Hi, and welcome to Unstoppable. I'm Paula Swain, your host and financial planner with the Financial Center for Women. So when I moved, I had to kind of, get rid of stuff. I use a different word when I'm describing that, but I just had to declutter. So I didn't know what to do, and I know some people don't know. They their stuff just accumulates over time, and you're like, do I keep this? Do I not keep this? So we're going to go to an expert. So C. Lee from Simplify You is here to talk to us how to get organized, not just with your closets and drawers, but also with your paperwork. So welcome, C. Lee.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul. I'm really excited to be here.
So how does somebody even get started becoming I'm just going to say professional organizer?
Sure, no, absolutely. So it's kind of funny. When I got started in 2003, it was really because I had had a variety of careers. I'd been a set and costume designer. I'd been a wardrobe mistress for Driving Miss Daisy off Broadway. I'd worked as a personal assistant for a wealthy lady. I'd worked in retail. And when I had a chance, I thought, well, what made me successful in all of those things? I wasn't an amazing artist or an amazing salesperson. And I realized that what made me successful was that I was organized. I could get things done on time and on budget efficiently. I set up systems in my retail boutique. And I thought, wow, I have this skill. I could teach it to other people. So in 2003, when I'd go to a dinner party, I'd say, oh, I'm an organizer. They would turn to me and say, oh, for which labor organization? Oh, no. I'm a in your pantries and kitchens. And then the women would be like, tell me more.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's who doesn't want someone to, but see, yes, I would want you to come in and organize, and then I would want you to come back every week and make sure that it stays that way.
Right. So that's a great thing, because the difference is that I teach people how to get organized, right? So it's one thing to just do it, but teach a man to fish, right? And so my greatest successes are when people are like, yeah, we got it figured out. It's all good. It's, occasionally people would have, oh, I'm having a new baby. We've got to switch things up. Or, oh, I've been divorced, or, oh, I've been widowed, right? But it usually takes some kind of life situation, because once you set the systems into place and people understand it and trust that they can make the right decisions, then the system's set up and it can really do its own magic. So, yeah, it's always the highest compliment when somebody's graduated.
But I imagine when you start this process, could be overwhelming for someone. I mean, I think your kitchen cupboards, that's a little easier than, say, do I keep this dress or do I throw this dress away? But I might need that dress down the road, or, you know what I mean? or sometimes you get this memory tied to something and you don't want to get rid of it.
Absolutely. So the overwhelm is real. And what I always want to teach people is that being organized, learning how to be organized, it's a skill. It's not a personality trait, right? Some people are naturally organized. Some people have language skills. Some people can sing like angels. We all have different things that we are better at, but we could all learn a language. We could all carry a tune, we could learn these skills. So I always tell people organizing is a learned skill. And so not to think that, I'm a messy person, I can't do it. If you want to, you can. And then also, great example, Paula, don't start with the hard stuff, right? Start with your bathroom cabinet. There's very little memories. maybe some guilt, or at least maybe that's myself when I'm like, oh, I spent a lot for that skincare. I never really used it, but it's expired. I need to move it on. Start with the low hanging fruit, the easy stuff like that. And then as your decision making muscle gets stronger, then you can do the harder things. I used to describe myself, I'm like a personal trainer for your stuff, right? So if you hire a personal trainer, you're not going to run a marathon the next day. You're going to start by stretching and some light weights and work your way into it. And it's exact same thing. You've got to learn to trust yourself that you're making the right decisions, and then you can start to make the harder decisions. So that makes it a little bit easier. So start with the easy.
I agree. Like I cleaned out my bathroom cabinets the other day, and I was amazed at, and actually same thought, how much I spent on something, and I never opened it, and now it's
Right.
now you got to throw it away. That's the same thing in my refrigerator. Being single, lots of times I buy stuff and then on the best intentions, and then I go in to go use it, and oh wow, this expired a year ago. So it's but you still, it's like, okay, for me, I find, okay, I organized it, everything's good. A month from now, it's not.
Right. So we have to build in maintenance, right? And everything in our life needs maintenance. We have to wash our clothes, right? We don't just keep buying new clothes. We have to brush our teeth, right? So we need to build in that maintenance. And I really find, like, I try to play a game with myself. Sometimes I say to-dos go in twos. So when I'm brewing a cup of tea, I want to brew it for 3 minutes. What can I do in 3 minutes? I can empty the dishwasher, right? So it's like, beat the clock when you're microwaving 2 minute, cup of tea or something, and wipe down the kitchen counters, right? Every time I do one thing, I try to do another thing. The other thing is, I say to-dos go in twos, is if I do something, I reward myself. So I don't know about you, but I love to reward myself with food and drink or social media. So I say to myself, I'm going to, whatever it is I don't want to do, organize my, recently we've just had the seasons change. So I had to switch out from my summer clothes to my winter clothes. And it's just gone really cold here. So it was really important that I did that. But it's a bit of a chore, right? So once I accomplished that, then I promised myself I could have a glass of wine and call my best friend and have a really nice long conversation. So I rewarded myself for doing that maintenance, for doing that task, right? And so glad that I did, because today when it was freezing, I didn't have to go find my winter coat. It was right there in the closet. So it helps if you can think of it in that sense. The maintenance.
Well, I like to reward myself as much as possible. I do that with all my goals. Like if I set a goal to get something done, then I make sure that I give myself some sort of treat, if it's ice cream or whatever it is. And I tell my clients that too. Like if you've got a goal to accomplish X, reward yourself halfway through, because that helps keep you motivated to
Right.
stay on track for that goal. But I imagine though, that's okay. I imagine sometimes that there's a lot of emotional or messy stuff that comes from, well, number one, not doing the maintenance. Like I did all this work, I got all this done, and now I just blew it because everything's all unorganized. I got to start all over again. I mean, how do you stay motivated other than a reward? But I mean, life happens. You get busy, and you don't get things, like you just throw it in the drawer. Because I'm just thinking about some of my drawers right now. Like thinking they're a mess. They weren't a few months ago, but like, how do you stay motivated other than a reward? Like, how do you take that emotional, like, oh my God, I did all this.
Yeah,
now
I know what you're saying.
Messed up.
So the physical clutter, so acknowledging that physical clutter is going to give you some emotional grief. And instead of sitting in that discomfort, it's better to take a small amount of time to tackle it. So, I suggest that my members, we do what we call a quarter hour quest, right? And so it's like a quarter hour, literally set the timer. When the timer goes off, you have to stop, but just do as much as you can, open as much mail as you can, clear the countertops. If you can do it in really small increments, right? Slow progress is still progress. It doesn't all have to change overnight, and it's not going to. So giving yourself really tiny goals, I think it makes it a lot easier to get that maintenance taken care of.
I'm thinking about myself here for a moment when you said that, like the quarter hour, like, and I'm like, when I start something, I'm that person that's gotta finish it. Like, I just have to. I don't know what it is about me that I'm like, okay, I started, I can't just walk away. So how do you work with someone who just can't walk away? And now I've maybe gave myself that quarter hour, and now it's an hour into it, the project's done, but I missed what I was supposed to be doing with that other 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm all stressed out.
Yeah, no, well, this is really good. And this is one of the things we do is we time ourselves, right? And so if you are the type of person who will work beyond that, then it's going to be really helpful for you, Paula, to know how long it takes you to X, right? So whatever that is, how long does it normally take me to read my email in the morning? How long does it normally take me to do this? What I find happens is that you either think it's going to take forever, and I can't even get started because it's going to take me hours. And then when you actually time yourself, you'll be shocked that it doesn't take you hours. I always say, let's estimate and then see what it takes. Or you're the opposite, the person who thinks they're never going to hit traffic, right? And leave the house 5 minutes before when they know it's a 15-minute drive in the best circumstances. So if you're that person and you think it's not going to take any time at all, let's do a reality check. Let's really see how long it takes to do whatever task you're trying to do. That can be super helpful to time yourself doing tasks, because then you have data. I tell my members, data, not drama. Right? It's really so much of organizing is just based on basic mathematics. For instance, you have your closet, right? You have 6 feet of hanging space. That's pretty defined. All you can fit is 6 feet of hanging space. So if you know that you're moving to a new home and you have 12 feet of hanging space, and in your new home you have 6 feet, you either have to pack away half of it or reduce it by half, right?
Right. So I think that's where people got to. It's hard. Like, going through your closet is really hard. Like, you're like, no, I know I'm going to wear that. And still a year later, it's still hanging there and you never wore it. No, I promise this year I'm going to wear it. And then you never wear it. Like, I don't know what it is, that emotional tie you have to certain clothes.
Yeah. So what I tell people is, let's honor our past, let's plan for the future, but let's live in the present. Let's let our homes, our closets, our refrigerators actually represent the person we are. So, if you're aspirational and you think, oh, I'm going to eat a lot of vegetables, but really you don't like butternut squash, then that's a great excuse of creating clutter, right? Same thing in our closets. Let's honor the past. So we all have those, the scarf you wore when you met your husband, the, wedding dress. It's crazy how many times I see wedding dresses in people's closets. I'm like, are you going to wear it again anytime soon? No, let's pack that up and put it away. So let's honor those special memorabilia clothes. Let's plan for the future, right? I intend to lose 10 pounds. Well, that doesn't mean I'm going to go from a 12 to a 6. I'm going to go from a 12 to a 10.
Right.
So if I have anything under size 10 in my closet, it's time to let it go. right? Because if I get to a size 6, I'm going to want to buy all new clothes anyway, right? So let's plan for the future, but let's live in the present. Let's let our home, our surroundings, our things represent where we are right now in time.
I think that goes with clothing too. Like when you get to a size 10, you keep the size 12 and you call those your fat clothes. And I'm not saying anybody a size 12 is fat, but I'm just saying that that's how people look at it. Like, I have my skinny clothes, I have my clothes where I'm at today, and then I have my fat clothes.
I always would I would suggest that we only do one on either side and that we pack those up so that we don't have the skinny clothes nagging us and we don't have the fat clothes easily available, right? So that we stay in where we presently are, where we really currently are living right now. And so that I think helps people. And then of course there's the other tips like, turning the hangers around. And I do this every season because I switch my clothes out. I start every season with the hangers backward. And I can tell what I've worn, washed, and put back normally. All those backward hangers I haven't looked at. And at the end of the season, I promise myself I just get rid of them. Because if I didn't wear them in a whole season, especially now, like we had an excuse during COVID, right? Well, I didn't leave the house, so I wasn't wearing my networking blouses. But now I leave the house all the time. So if I'm not wearing those clothes, then let me let go of them and bless somebody else with that donation. And then, in your drawers, I love using painter's tape. So I'll fold my clothes, my pajamas, and I'll put a piece of painter's tape across the fold. If I pull those pajamas out, I take the painter's tape off, I wear them, I wash them, I put them back. At the end of a season, anything that still has the tape on, I know I didn't wear it.
That is fantastic. Like, I've heard that before. Not the painter's tape one. That's new for me. But the hanger one, I think when I go home, I'm going to turn everything around. Maybe not when I go home, but this weekend, I'm going to turn everything around and see. Like, some of the things I know are obvious. Like, I haven't worn that in a couple of years. I don't know why I don't get rid of it, but I'm going to do that. And I bet you I could probably thin out half my clothes.
Yeah. And the thing is, you decide what your timeline is, right? Maybe you take a year, if you can hang all of your clothes, you don't have to switch them over like I do, then give yourself a full year, all of the seasons, all of the holiday parties. I get it. Somebody's like, well, I only wear that at Christmas time. I'm like, okay, well then why is it cluttering up your closet 11 other months of the year? Let's put that ugly Christmas sweater with your Christmas, your Christmas stuff. And in fact, this is a great example. We actually packed her advent calendar, her ugly Christmas sweater, and a couple of other things that she pulls out early in the month of December in with her Thanksgiving decor. So now it's not cluttering up her closet. She can actually have clothes that she wears in her closet, but when she pulls out her Thanksgiving decor to decorate the house, get out the cornucopia for the table, oh, there's my ugly Christmas sweater. Oh, and there's the advent calendar ready to go for the 1st of December. So yeah, just
wow, you're talking about really being organized. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, that sounds overwhelming. It makes sense, but it sounds to me like, wow, you got to really be forward thinking on this whole thing.
Once you set up that system, right? Once you decide, oh, I'm going to pack these 3 items. I wish I could remember the other one. It was the advent calendar, the ugly Christmas sweater. Once she's made that decision, then at the end, that's where they go back at the end of the holiday season. She puts them in her Thanksgiving. So it's just really coming up with a system that works for you. It's not overwhelming. It's just like pulling out some painter's tape.
So do you do that with like your socks and your lingerie? Like, do you do that with everything? Like even jewelry? Like, do you organize, like if you haven't worn a necklace in a year or you haven't worn those pair of socks in, a year, do you throw them out? No?
I don't, because I only have black socks and white socks. And with jewelry, it doesn't take up a lot of space. So for me, I'd rather, if I don't wear that necklace in a year or two. I mean, some things just look dated, and you look at it, you're like, I'm never going to wear that. But you could.
So let's talk about not only your closets and your drawers, but your paperwork. So like I met with a woman today, or scheduled an appointment with a woman today who's coming in to see me next week. And she's like, I'm just going to bring all my paperwork. I'm like, perfect. You know, I'm going to need it anyway. And she goes, well, it's stacks. And I'm like, stacks? She goes, yeah, I don't know what to keep. I don't know what to throw away. Do I keep my year-end statement? Do I keep my beginning year statement? Do I keep the ones in the middle? And I'm like, oh, wow. So I know I'm going to have a job helping her go through all that paperwork to show her what to keep and not keep. And even though I'll do that, I mentioned when I meet with her the year after, she's still going to bring me a stack.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you work with clients when it comes to important papers?
Right. So I actually have a whole course that I teach about paper, but the important thing is teaching people to trust their judgment. And everybody's different, right? So, one of the things that I had a client, one of my grand success stories, I had a client that walked into her home. She literally had piles of paper, knee deep, ankle deep, all around her home office. I was like, what's this? And she explained, I'm a single person. I don't have anybody else to rely on. I'm hoping to retire in a few years. But I see that all of these financial statements come in and they all have holes in them. So I need to put them in binders. and I was like, okay, let's step back. What's really important? She's like, what's really important is how much money I'm losing or getting each month on these different TIAA-CREF and retirement investments. So we literally took one piece of paper. We listed all of the months. We listed the 8 different investments she had. And when the financial thing came in, she looked at the final total, $20,000. And then if she started to see a trend, 15,000, 14,000. Oh, wait, now I'm going to really look at what's going on. That one piece of paper freed her up because, again, it changes day to day, week to week, month to month. What she needed to know was where she was at. Once she actually also opened lots and lots of statements that she was avoiding because the paper was overwhelming, and we just gathered the information. When she saw it on a page, she was shocked at how much she had in her investment accounts. She really didn't think she had that much money. She had never sat and done the math. She was so worried about it.
Here's what I would have said, or next time you could say when you run into that situation. Here's Paula's number. Give her a call because she'll do all that for you. You can have it all in one program and show you every day if you wanted to.
But this was the thing. So she finally was empowered with the information. She took it to a financial person, and this person said to her, you could retire tomorrow, and let me show you how.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. There are so many, I'm going to go with most, because mostly I work with women. I mean, I do work with men too, but there are so many women who just don't have a clue where they are financially. They just, you'd think you'd be keeping some sort of running total, and they don't. And it is because they don't want to look at that statement, because lots of times when people look at their statement, they're like, oh my God, the market's down 10%, and they start to panic, and then they don't know what to do. So either they don't open them, or they do open them and then they stack them up in piles, and then they, okay, so it was, $100,000 today, but wow, when I go back, it was 150. What happened? And it's just like, I say, be in the present moment with all of that stuff, because that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. It's about what's going on today. Well, that's good for her. I'm glad that did she retire?
Yeah.
Did she retire?
Yes, she did. She did. And she's like, oh, it's because of you, Celie. I'm like, oh, all I did was,
organize your papers. Right? Okay. But Celie, can you come organize my papers and find me and be able to retire?
Absolutely.
Now we talked about, I think lots of times I talk with my clients because most of them are, in their later years of life, and they have, when you pass away. So just think about that when your loved ones come into your home and you've got all these papers and they're trying to figure out. First, you should be organized and talk to them prior every year about what you have. But lots of times people don't because they keep that personal. But then they pass away, and then your family goes in there, and there's just papers everywhere, and they're trying to organize everything. And I think that's the best gift you can give to someone. First, give it to yourself about being organized with your papers. But that gift, if you were to suddenly pass away, and your loved ones don't have to try to figure out what the heck is going on.
Yeah, that is truly the best gift you can give.
And I guess that goes with all your stuff, like even your closet. Don't hold on to that moo-moo for 25 years just because you want that moo-moo. You know what I mean? You're not going to wear it. Don't make somebody else have to give it away.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the whole idea of Swedish death cleaning, right? We're grown-ups, especially when you're on the latter side of life, right? And I don't know about you, but I've lost my parents, my sisters, right? I've been an executor more often than I want. And what a gift it was for me when those loved ones had all of this stuff figured out, had my name as, transfer on death, had my name on the bank account, so it wasn't difficult for me to get in there, had told me about all of the details, because then I could focus on my grieving and getting through it and not curse them because they saddled me with this horrible responsibility of trying to figure it out. It's like one of the things we talk about is a sad box, and that's shred at death, right? And so if you don't want your kids reading your love letters or whoever's going to be, just put it in a sad box, tie a ribbon on it, shred at death, or toss at death, a tad box. I don't care how you get rid of it, but let your family know they don't have to deal with that, right? If you're not ready to get rid of it yet.
I love that. I love that idea. I'm gonna share that with my clients because there are things that are personal that you prefer nobody to read, but yet you don't want to get rid of those things. And that's a great idea.
Yeah. And I think, I know at least my daughter will honor that because she's like, I don't want to waste my time with that, so.
Oh, no, I'm sure there's people out there that would go, oh, Mom didn't want me to read this. I'm going to go in there and read it anyway.
Right. And if it's something that sensitive, go ahead and get rid of it now.
Yeah. Because you really don't know when that time is going to happen. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's so true. I think about that now. I'm thinking, I'm like, what is in my house that if I was to not go home tomorrow, that somebody might find that I would really prefer that they didn't.
Yeah, especially because you want them to focus on all of the positive things once you're gone, right? And you don't want them to think about negative things or just think of you in a different way. So,
right. It was funny. I interviewed this company, and I can't think what the name of them are, but they kind of like help to establish all your paperwork in this. I can't even remember, but what it was is that they had this part of the service that when you passed away, they would be able to go into your home and immediately remove all of the things that you didn't want your family to see. And it was so funny. One of my friends goes, like what? And I'm like, use your imagination. There's things that you don't want your family to see, So yeah, it would be, I guess you just get rid of it today and not have to worry about worry about it later. But I think as we're having this conversation, I'm going through my own house, my own papers and everything, and it looks like I've got some work to do this weekend. And I think I might have the best intentions as I sit here, but will I do it? is the second thing. But I guess you just kind of have to take a plan. So maybe it might be, okay, I'm going to clean out this dresser and organize it. And then I'm going to work on the closet next weekend. And then, spread it out over time so it doesn't become overwhelming.
That's the best way to do it. Those 15-minute, quarter hour quest, those little 15-minute, you can really accomplish a lot in those little chunks of time. It all adds up. And again, small progress is still progress.
I like that. So we are going to ask, I'm going to ask one last question. And that is, if you could go back to your younger self and say, 20 years old, what would you tell yourself about money that you would have wished you'd known back then?
So I feel, always, right? Save as much as possible, compounded interest, all of that. I feel that it's also important to invest in systems and strategies. So hiring somebody, even young, the day after my daughter's 18th birthday, we took her to our financial advisor, set up her 401k. I'm kicking myself because I could have hired her as an 8-year-old in my business,
Yes.
But at least we got started when we did. But invest in educating yourself, right? And then I think, and this just helps in all things, if you don't purchase a thing, then you don't have to manage the thing. So if I'm going to spend money, I'm not going to spend it on things. I'm going to spend it on experiences and creating memories, on vacations. So that's where, when you're young, you think, oh, but I want the things, but really the memories are so much more valuable than the things. So that's what I would say.
I agree with you 100%. I talk about that often. Experiences are something you're gonna remember for a lifetime. And when you pass away, somebody will go back, oh, remember when grandma did this with us or did that with us? And that's what they're gonna remember. They're not gonna remember that, oh yeah, I had a 4-wheeler and a motorcycle and this or that. It's we went to the show, we went on vacation, we did those things. Those are the things that people remember.
Yeah.
So it has been such a pleasure talking with you. How would you like to promote your business for right now? Go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. I'd love to invite people to visit me at Clee, that's Clee, Cawley, CAWLEY.com. There's information there about my organizing membership. We're a really friendly group, and I've got people from around the world. We co-work, we do classes, Q&A. It's a lot of fun. And I also have my paper cleanse course available there. We talked about paper. Again, I teach people and how to manage it, and in a really step-by-step logical system that people, again, from 5 different continents now, hundreds of people have taken my course and learned how to manage their paper. So I invite people to check me out there.
Again, it has been such a pleasure to meet you, and I've learned a lot, and now my closets and stuff and papers are going to be organized. Give me some time, though. But this has been... Yeah. Thanks for joining us. This has been Unstoppable, where we dream, grow, and thrive, and we will talk to you next week. Take care.
Thanks for watching Unstoppable. Do you have a question for Paula? Send it our way. To schedule a one-on-one consultation, give us a call. Unstoppable is brought to you by Paula Swain and the Financial Center for Women. Dream, grow, thrive.